We saw some pretty big cinema announcements last year. Fuji announced the Eterno, their first foray into the cinema world. Blackmagic released the Pixis, the Ursa 12K, and announced the 17K 65. Red, now owned by Nikon, released the V-Raptor X and the XLX, and released red LUTs for their Z8, Z9, Z6 III. They also dropped the prices of the Komodo and announced a new Z-mount cinema camera for Q4 this year. Canon released the C80, C400, and was the first manufacturer to release the triple native ISO, and they continue to support the C70 as well as the R5C through firmware updates. Sony released the Burano last year, and despite what everyone thinks, it does have its place. They also released a roadmap for FX camera firmware updates. This brings me back to Panasonic. Last year, the closest thing we got was a GH7. They've been a little too quiet in this arena. The last cinema camera they released was the Ava 1 in 2017. Technically, they do have the AK something or other in 2022, but that's really an Ava in a broadcast body. The last Varicam released was in 2016 with the Pure, which is the same sensor as the other models. It's a great sensor, but it has aged at this point. The Varicam back in the day challenged ARRI and Red as a real budget contender for larger sets. If you don't know, the Varicam is what introduced dual native ISO to the camera world. We literally would not have dual native ISO in any of our cameras if it wasn't for the Varicam. They don't seem to be doing anything in the pure cinema world. All their emphasis seems to target hybrid shooters or ultra budget shooters, which is a little disappointing to me, honestly. The Varicam, when it was released, was so close to ARRI in terms of that organic quality in their image. They were considered the budget ARRI. Red maintained their own fan base for their sharp, crisp details and smooth highlight roll-off. I'm willing to bet if they released a large format version in a timely manner, they would have found a home in more sets and taking some of the market away from Red and the Venice. Especially because they have one really interesting feature set. On the set of Nope, Hoyt van Hoytema shot those night scenes in a unique way that I think the Varicam could make it much easier to mimic for those that want to shoot that way on more budget sets. The night scenes in that film were all shot day for night using a converted ARRI Alexa 65 with an infrared sensor, then inverting the image in post and matching it to the original film stock. There's a cool trick that the Varicam can do that no other cinema camera can. You can detach the AI or cut filter on the Varicam and shoot with infrared, and you don't have to send it out. You as the user is given that ability. On the Ava 1, it's even easier because it's electronically controlled. You just push the button and the IR filter swings out of the way. Panasonic completed development of their organic global shutter sensor, which they've been working on since 2013. What I wish they'd consider doing is taking that sensor technology and utilizing their L2 collaboration with Leica to build something that can probably take the cinema world by storm. Leica is the favorite photography tool used by some of the best cinematographers out there. This includes the esteemed Roger Deakins, who recently published a book of his very own photography, which are all shot on his Leica M. A cinema camera that has Leica's badge would resonate. Add their color science and build quality and standards on top of Panasonic's technological knowledge, and you're going to have something that can truly shake the cinema camera world. Panasonic has always been really great about keeping their costs down. Clearly, this camera should be aimed at a safer price point compared to ARRI. I imagine if it's too close to ARRI, film productions could just choose the ARRI. The Varicam would fare a bit better against something like the Red V Raptor X and the XLX, which are fantastic cameras. But they don't have any real competition in that respective price bracket, except with the exception of the Sony Burano. This second generation of Ava could be a Panasonic S1H Mark II, but placed in the Ava body. This would be the camera that would go head-to-head against the Canon C400, the Sony FX6, and even the Sony FX9. It should have all the things that are in the S2H that couldn't fit. Built-in XLR right on the body, larger batteries, NDs, locking SDI, etc. I just feel like that just makes sense. I'm a Panasonic fan. I want them to show up, not just at the lower budget. They have the means to compete in every budget level. They did compete until they didn't. They put so much emphasis at the lower budget consumer prosumer level, they lost every advantage they had and allowed Sony to swoop in. They have value to bring in the cinema world, besides box-shaped remakes with worse UI. So I do hope this year they pull something pretty amazing in the cinema field. Thanks again for listening to me rant about not having a new Varicam and Ava to play with. I always appreciate anyone that comes by and hangs out, so thank you, and I hope you all have an amazing day.